What's up everyone, my name is Harshal Mavani and in this video we take a look at variables, methods and the prestigious static keyword. All of this in 5 minutes. So let's get started. Let me type a program for this particular video. Now please note that for all future videos and the programs I'll be typing, I'll have this particular structure. A class which is the main class and the second class which will be actually demonstrating the feature or the concept we are studying in that particular video. In this case we are studying variables, so we'll stick to variables. So now the main class is separated from the variable class. So whenever I want to use something belonging to the variable class, I will instantiate the class over here inside the public static void main. Now talking about variables, in Java we have three types of variables. First being an instance variable, second being a local variable, and third being a static variable. So what exactly is an instance variable? A variable defined inside a class directly is an instance variable. So in this case, this particular variable is an instance variable. Let's get the name correct. So this is an instance variable which is directly inside of a class. Let's take a look at the local variable. A local variable generally resides inside a function. So let me have a function which looks like public void some function. Now inside this, if I have int local variable, this becomes a local variable. So this is an instance variable and this one inside some function is a local variable. Finally, the static keyword. Static keyword can be applied over here. Static int static variable. In this case, this variable becomes a static variable, this is an instance variable, and this is a local variable. Now what exactly is the difference between an instance variable and a static variable? I guess the local variable concept is clear by now because it is just a simple variable declared inside a function, maybe for a particular mathematical operation or any other operation. But the main difference or the main interview question lies over here. What's the difference between an instance variable and a static variable? So let's try to crack this. A static variable is shared by all the objects of that class, while an instance variable is specific to each object. So each object will have a copy of the instance variable, while all the objects or all the instances will share only and only one static variable. So in my main method, if I try to instantiate the class variable, let's say variable v is equal to new variable. Let me just go ahead and copy paste a few of them. Variable v, v1 and v2. So when I do this, v will have its own copy of instance variable, v1 will have its own copy of instance variable, and v2 will have its own copy of instance variable as well. But all of these, that is v, v1 and v2, will share the same static variable. I repeat, they will share the same static variable, and hence any value assigned to static variable will reflect in all three of these. Let's take a practical example. So if I try to do this where v dot instance variable is 10. Similarly, let me just copy paste it and change the names. This one becomes v1 and this becomes v2. I have assigned different values now to all three of these variables. So as you can see, v has its own instance variable which has a value 10, v1 has its own instance variable which has its value 20, and v2 has its own instance variable with the value of 40. While the static variable must be accessed using the class name. So as seen till now, the instance variables are accessed using object names. I repeat, using object names. Now this was the object and we have accessed instance variable using the object name. However, the static variable over here, in which case the name is static variable also, is accessed using the class name. So the static variable over here is a part of which class? The answer is the variable class, and hence we will address it in this manner. Variable dot static variable is equal to 100. Now does this mean that if I try to do v dot static variable, would it result in a compile time error? Absolutely not. Another interview question. So if I am trying to do v dot static variable, this is perfectly fine. There is no problem in this. The program will run, it will compile and it will all work smoothly. There's no problem over here. But we stick to conventions, and whenever we are talking about static variables or static functions, we will access them using the class name. That is the enclosing class name, the class which holds those variables or the methods in this case.